Hey up racers, I've decided to retire the Mardave. I've been having loads of fun at the Derby Club, racing the little Mardave V12 with the Renault body shell, and the last couple of races I had actually got a little old Peugeot 205 body shell, so I've been using that, and to be fair I actually enjoyed using that body shell more than the little Renault body shell. I've been racing the Mardave, as you know, to try to improve my driving skills away from smashing into barriers all the time to actually getting around and doing a clean lap, and I've managed to improve surprisingly. I didn't think I would. When I first started I went from sort of 11 laps ish, maybe sometimes I crept up to 13, so the last few races I've been consistently on 20 laps. I know the circuit changes, but based upon how some of the top racers perform, I've definitely improved my averages on lap times and been able to creep up lap quantities, whereas they've pretty much stayed the same. So from that I take it that I've actually improved my driving skills. However, I'd made up my mind, as Derby draws to a close and shuts down for the summer holidays, I decided that that was going to be my last run with the Mardave V12, with a view to changing to a Mini, which is either the Camtech, the Mardave or the Batcave. And so during the summer I've managed to buy one of the Batcave Minis, and I'm in the process currently of transferring the gubbins out of the Mardave into the Batcave, and I'm trying to decide whether to put in brushless equipment, which means I've got to buy a brand new speed controller, or whether to carry on going with brushed just to get me used to the Mini, and then when I've got used to the Mini and the way it drives is to upgrade into brushless, which makes the car significantly quicker on its lap times. I just don't think I'm a good enough driver yet to go full on brushless with 2S lipos and end up crashing into barriers left, right and centre in what to me is a brand new car. So that's where we're at currently with racing at Derby. I've also done a little spot of racing over at Tamworth Model Car Club. I don't know what the official title is, but I knew I wouldn't be able to race the Mardave. They wouldn't have anything against that, but when they're all racing these high performance things, I'd look a bit daft racing this old car. So something else I've not actually mentioned yet, and that is that I've bought a second-hand Schumacher GT12, a 12th scale pan car. They call them pan cars? I don't know. Carpet racing car, foam tyres and all that. I bought that off Rich Parker several months back, but never did anything with it. So I eventually got that working, made its debut at Tamworth many weekends ago. Come out with loads of problems. Springs snapped at the back, motor wires came off, servo stripped, one or two other little issues. Then I went back again and actually had a far better night, and we tried to work out some better ways so that I could get used to driving it. Because the Schumacher runs a 13.5 turn motor with 1S lipos, I've got the 1S lipo batteries, but the 13.5 turn motor is so quick. So what we can do is dial back the speed on the stick controllers, but I found that the acceleration then, full speed, is only just above, like, off. So full speed for me is all the way forward, but we couldn't get that because I think it's to do with how fast the motor ultimately goes. So if I carry on with the Schumacher, I reckon I'm going to have to change the motor to something a lot slower so I can get used to it again before we go into running it at 13.5 turn. Now sadly, GT12 class has took a bit of a hit. There's lots of new classes going on. I don't know all the details. This may be completely new to you, but we're looking at LM GT3, which hasn't really been that successful. And then they've also come out with something called GT12 Evo, which uses the same basic car, but they change things like tyres, batteries, motors and something else and something else. So if I do keep the Schumacher, then I might do something along the GT12 Evo side rather than pursue with stock GT12. So that pretty much brings you up to speed with where I'm at. Driving's improved, brand new car on its way. GT12 I'm experimenting with, but not too sure yet. And I'm thoroughly enjoying the whole racing thing. I found Tamworth tricky because there's a lot of experienced racers there. There's some newer guys, but they've definitely got far more experience than I have. They're talking about rollout. I mean, what is that? Droop? I mean, we don't do these things on the old Mardave. So these things are all new to me, very sophisticated. I found it pretty daunting, really. My honest opinion is I don't think, for me, GT12 is what I would consider an entry-level class by any means. There's just too much technicality to it and incredible speed. So if you're a newbie, I would probably steer away from GT12 type classes and maybe concentrate on something a bit more tammier speed. However, I did enjoy it once I got over the initial overwhelm of the GT12, but I do like the Mardave. I was very reluctant to retire it. I felt there was even more potential that I could got out of it, and I feel, even though it's on a stock motor, this is a 27 turn stock motor with 4.8 volt NIM batteries that are only running like 3,600 milliamps and completely stock suspension and all of that. I just felt that where I was going with it, I think there was at least another 2 or 3 lap possibilities out of that. And if I went brushless with it, I think I'd be out there with the minis, no problem at all. It just shows that you don't have to spend an absolute fortune to have fun with radio control cars around a circuit and be competitive at the same time with some of these modern things. You might not win the race, but I do think that you will have as much fun as the winners in trying to chase them down. I know I did. So while Derby takes a little bit of a break until September, I've got one race coming up at the Burton Club in Gresley. That will be in August. I'm planning for that. I think I'll be running the GT12, but I've got some slight motor alterations to make to that and some other little tweaks. And then after that, I'm looking forward to being back at Derby in September with the Batcave. So if you can, why not have a go at radio control car racing, and I'll see you on the back of the grid. Okay, yeah.
One, three, two, 4, 5.
You back on?
Can I see my reflect that, please? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 minutes is 1, 2, 4, 3. 4, 3, 1, 2. The running order at 2 minutes is 1, 3, 4, 2. The winning order at 4 minutes is 1, 3, 4, 2.
What was that?
4, 3, 1. Race over. The finishing order is 1, 3, 4, 2.
You're just trying to do it on the last lap, weren't you, you see?
1, 2 minutes for race 3.